Hi, I'm starting over this video because I stopped it to adjust my lamp, but the lamp died during this process. So that's exactly what I was saying. So first of all, good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are and whenever you're watching this. And yeah, I'm sorry for the lack of light. Now it's even more than when I started it because I had a lamp around here and that one died. I had problems with my LED lamps on my ceiling, and last week the one straight after the session, the one died there in another room, and yesterday this one here, which means that I'm under heavy artillery or heavy attacks. And I know why, because of what I spoke about last week, and because of the session last week, because it was like a really bad energy session. The client was really under very heavy influences and completely unaware. It was a heavy duty session, not in time wise, but in yeah, things like that need to come out. But when a client is not cooperative, like this one wasn't, and doesn't really understand the process, things stay with me, and yeah, these are the consequences, and because of some of the things that are going on now, and mostly because of what I was speaking about last week. And yeah, while I was trying to adjust this here, this just died, and it's usually my electricity that goes first. And yeah, I was taking my time to make like even that video because I didn't feel inspired to do it, and I don't feel inspired to do it at all. And then I had it was this the heat wave and all of the weather changes, and what is going on with the weather, because there are no climate changes. It's all artificially done. And yeah, I'm not feeling the stream at the moment like I was feeling last week. Last week was really strong, and Divine Mother took over, and she was basically speaking. I was saying that what she was telling me to say, what was going on through me, and I accepted because of the influences also, but because I accepted a challenge from her. I was undergoing some clearing, so I had a health scare, and then I had a tooth problem. Now it's health scare. I don't know, it's still there because it was something with my womb, and now then there was a tooth. It was this one that was a bit swollen, and I'm still a little bit swollen, but now it's my eyes, and I have like here have a scratch, and I'm completely, it's red. And yeah, I don't feel like doing it now, but when I was when I accepted this challenge, she took over. Basically, I was feeling her very much, and I was in a meditation, and for almost not almost 3 hours. I didn't know that it was that long, and she took over completely. And she told me to speak about this, and she told me I should speak about spiritual violence. And this is not the term that I heard somewhere or from somebody I follow, or literature or something. It's just something that she said. It was exactly like this, in these terms, that I should use, and I speak about that. And I already said that there are 2 or 3 more topics that I'm going to speak about and post on YouTube, and I'm going to stop posting on YouTube, including language transmissions, maybe when I feel a very big impulse to do something. While I'm speaking, I'm feeling clearing. And but and you can see my eyes, by the way my eyes look, and you can see that I'm under very heavy influences. My brother was under influences last week when I posted that video. He was really unwell, but my channel was completely protected. But now, they when this stuff happens, it's because they want to create portals to get in, and yeah, because of the session, they were able to do it because I accepted the session that I guess I should have think twice. But let's just continue with what I was saying. So I'm not gonna be posting on YouTube. I already mentioned this, and I'm sticking with it, and because of the reasons that I already mentioned, but because of all of this that is happening to me, I don't want to be publicly available to just everybody, because not everybody who is watching and following is has good intentions in their heart towards me. Some don't understand me, don't understand what I'm saying, and they're triggered, and, and then they verbally attack me or energetically or try to attach. And some are doing this deliberately because they're prying on people who are like me. And I've been speaking about some of the things that have been happening to me since 2018 onwards, or at least since when I discovered it, mentioning something. But now, like I said, I've been told to speak about it in terms of spirit, to name it as a spiritual violence. And I don't feel the stream now. I don't feel like there's nothing, and I'm really missing this light around here. So yeah. I want to continue to deliver these messages and to have these kind of lessons, but only with the people who are really interested in it and who really want to hear what I have to say, and have good intentions in their heart towards me, or well-meaning. So I mean, to people who follow me and to people who have been attending sessions with me, I've sent information about it. So if you want to, I mean, the videos that are already made will be still there and available, but the new ones will be for those who are on live call with me in a group. So basically I want to create a group, and yeah, if you're interested into something like that, do send a message or a comment below, because I mean, I don't need too many people. I just need a couple, at least, well, 3 to 5. But if there is 3, that's more like a private session. And yeah, I do have more people who are Serbian speaking, but if there are people who are English speaking and who do speak English and we can communicate in English, we can do this. And I prefer if you tell me what are your interests and what do you want to hear from me, what do you want me to speak about, than me offering a program. Yeah, that can happen at some point if there is no response like this, which I was thinking about it for a while. But at the moment, I'm undergoing a lot of changes, so I don't think I'll be offering it yet like this. So I'd prefer if you tell me what are your interests, and then we start, just like this. I'm going to be either having a lecture or having a guided meditation or a channeling or an active light language activation or guided meditation, depending on how the energy feels at the moment and what you need. So yeah, that's about the information. So I'm really when I mentioned last week Divine Mother, she just completely took over. And what she told me in that meditation, or she told me many things. Most of the things I don't remember, and they come when I need to speak. And yeah, my channel like feels a little bit blocked somewhere at the moment. And the point is exactly why all these things, why this is happening, why this spiritual violence and stuff is happening, is because they want to take over my channel. The ones who are preying on me, they want to take over my channel and use it. And as so far, they couldn't be taking it over. Um, they want to close it. So yeah, I do experience this as violence, as very violent, because for me, although it's not happening physically, but it manifests physically, like I just told you, or like some other stuff. And um, it is physical for me. I experience because my body feels it. I feel pains in different parts of my body, like I just told you. So about what I had about like this tooth, where is it? I can't get used to this camera. Um, here it was swollen, so I'm still a little bit swollen, and I like disfigured. And I saw that I had like these strings, copper strings, that were creating like triangle, upward triangle, that is going from one tooth to the other, and then to my third eye, that is creating opening here. And in my womb I had a string that's basically there to create problems and either divert the flow of your energy, steal energy, and or to just create a hole so that you're drained, so your energy gets drained. But at the moment about what I saw that was going on, there was something thrown at me. So it's not only that, it's been like really. But yeah, the energy stream last week was like I had to hold my hand like this, and it was like a lot of energy was coming out and clearing and healing, and then there was a wall being created around me so that that channel is protected, and it was protected for a while until this happened. So yeah, okay, I'm feeling it now. Yeah, that's more like it. That's what I'm used to when I'm doing these transmissions. So I mean, I don't know why they even try, because I already said I'm gonna stop making them like this. So I just, because I mean, there's no point. I don't want to. I don't feel this passion for it anymore. I don't enjoy it anymore. It's, just I'm gonna do it when I feel really, really called to do it again, and it's. So basically, what I said is that I was sharing my experiences, um, and let's see what she has to say. Yeah, I'm feeling another process in me coming up that is about something else. So this is why the energy stream is different this time around. But there were quite a few beings last week there, and it was quite visible. And now with all this that happened, it just kind of that sent to lower my vibration, so that I have to deal with some things and it lowers my vibration. so that they can either attach or attack, or and then I lose energy dealing with other things. So it's kind of distracting you so that you have to deal with other things instead of what you're actually having to do. And I basically I could have waited a little bit with this transmission in English, but I actually couldn't because I'm having a visitor, and yeah, I have other things coming up, so I won't be able to make it in a while. And yeah, this is why I decided I'm gonna go ahead with it anyway, and instead of waiting to fix my lights and to close these holes. And that drains me a little bit. It takes away my energy a little bit to do it. And yeah, the point is that, like I said, there is a huge problem that I saw happening in the spiritual community, let's say spiritual community, and this is what I was naming it. I don't remember everything I said in this past video in Serbian because it was not me. It was going through me. Um, so the problem, and I was thinking about it a lot, is the um, lack of knowledge and a lot of ego stuff coming out to the surface. Um, half half truths and half knowledge that people really want to stick with without changing their minds when they're confronted with something else, and a lot of basically a lot of programming that is going on there, because those half truths and lack of knowledge are mostly deliberate, because most of the people, of the spiritual leaders, let's call them more spiritual influencers, are mostly psyops. They're psychological operations, and they're there deliberately, especially the ones who, like, with huge amount of followers, because they're there to direct the energy and creation with that energy in a certain direction. And not all the things that are happening there are bad, but it's just that not all of it is true, and not all of us are creating through this what we want to create, but we're rather creating what they want us to create and what we are told to create, including this very much being turned towards the agendas that are happening at the moment. That doesn't mean that the truth doesn't. We should not be speaking the truth, and the disclosure is not needed. But by now, there are enough people who have understood what is going on and are speaking about it more than like 2 years around when this all started. And still, some things are going on. And although I do that too, I also post a lot about some of the things that I discover. It's Some things are rather logical without you having to dig that deep to understand some of the things. But some of the things are also there as psyop, and we're all, like, caught in this psychological warfare between some fractions that is actually happening, and they want to. It's not war on consciousness, and it's not. It's a kind of a spiritual war, but it's not a war. It's they're they're diverting attention from the reality of how we are creating and what is being created, and at the same time the energy that is being directed towards certain goal is being used for something that they want, because they know exactly how to manipulate energy and to manipulate collective energy and create with it. And this I've been speaking about it, and this is why they inform us about the things that are going to happen at certain point, and then they happen. And but also, they're covering up of the other things that are actually lying behind, which are the cause for these um, agendas. And there's always something new that then you have to pay attention to. There's always something new, and then we forget the starting point. And the starting point usually is not the cause of all of it, and it's not the real reason why all of it is happening. The real reason is well hidden, and it's basically all about energy, because they can't create all of this without the energy. So even this is why it's a big problem in spiritual community, the ignorance that I've noticed happening there. And not only the ignorance about psychological processes, about how mental mind works, about mythos of certain, I've caught myself, you know, speaking and sharing some things and thinking about it without not knowing properly what's behind it. And some of the things that are going on for ages and centuries, not only now, because there are some cults that are well and thriving, and they have been well and thriving for eons now. And that's nothing new. It's just that we found ourselves caught up in our old energy and old stories that are embedded there. They're entangled there, and we have to disentangle and follow our own path rather than continuing with that, because that was a choice of choice making of something that we did, that we made in the past, from certain belief systems and for certain reasons. But we don't have to do that anymore, and usually that works for a while, and it carries us for a while into certain direction until it doesn't, and until it's too late to turn around and go back. Yeah, you can always make a different choice, but at certain point when you're probably properly used and abused with that, um, when there's nothing more to use from you, you just, it's just not needed anymore. And there's a lot of karma that is coming out to the surface to be cleared with all over. And I also find myself caught in, well, I work with karma with other people, but I find myself caught in other people's karma, because it's yeah, sometimes you cannot not pay attention and cannot not help. um, but that's just it. When ego gets attached to all these beliefs and um, psyops and programs that are offered to us, because they sound so nice, because they give us something, they give us a sense of belonging, they give us a sense of being powerful, they give us a sense of like we matter, we are doing something. I don't know, maybe we have a gain, not always psychological, but some material gain from it. The ego gets all wrapped up around it, and it's hard to get out of it and to admit to oneself that that's not the truth of reality, and that's an illusion too. And although I am speaking about this spiritual violence because I've been confronted with it a lot, that's an illusion too. Now I was just thinking for a moment what I'm gonna say, that this is not the truth of the reality, but it is the truth of the reality, because what was happening, at least what's happening with me, but I'm seeing happening all over. For me, like I already mentioned, it's mainly male energies that I'm being attacked to. That doesn't mean that there are no females there. It's just that they're functioning from male energy and a male dominant energy that is either leading the group or, I don't know, using them, or whatever. But they are also either functioning from unhealthy feminine energy or not very developed feminine energy or male polarity in themselves. Because whenever you have to dominate somebody else, that and prove to somebody else that you are more of something, that you have more, that you know more, that you um, that you're better looking, that you're hotter, that you're better dancer, that you're this. Mm, that's domineering, and that is more male energy than female energy. It doesn't that doesn't mean that women are not like that, but this is exactly what I'm saying. So, um, what I've been experiencing is that they want to prove themselves. They are much stronger than me. That they have more power than me. But like I said, it's mainly about closing the channel, because they don't want strong Shakti channel and downloading this energy strongly. There are also women who want to prove that they will do it better than I do, and whenever you, and I'm experiencing this in spiritual community a lot, and I've been witnessing, I haven't been experiencing, but witnessing that they want to prove themselves. So they, whether, I don't know, prove something to someone to show that they have it more than you, that they are, I don't know, they become jealous or triggered by something or don't understand, or I don't know, a lot of aggression, and that turns into aggression. And whenever they're triggered, I don't know if the sadness is triggered in something that is really deep, that is turned around into aggression. So basically the energy coming down is pretty much not understood properly. So whether they think that basically they usually want something that is yours. This has been happening to me throughout my history, entire history that I've been observing throughout all of my lives. So I have these powers, and I come to the certain point where my powers become really strong, and then it's a certain fraction, certain group, and it's always the same group, in the same, well, let's say people, beings, people, but more beings who sabotage me and want to close it. And they have been killing me before and stopped me from developing even further, but not so much from developing, but more from materializing this energy into the physical plane. And like I said, so far that was because the change of the shift of the energy towards patriarchy, from matriarchy. But we are kind of coming to the same point now. It's just that we're not going to matriarchy again, because we're speaking about this balance again. It's more about creating balance between these two energies. And this is why I spoke about healing of divine masculine energy. And this is more of a continuation to that video, because all of these videos, they kind of stack up to each other. They're linked if you listen to them carefully. So it's more of, and I've heard other what I've seen in my clients, it's pretty much the same thing that has been coming to the surface lately and to be witnessed and cleared. And I've heard my other colleagues speak about the same things, that it's coming up in their journey, in their healing journey for themselves, that they uh, come to the point where they have to deal with this kind of issue, that there is a certain group uh, that sabotages them in their development, and when they come to the certain level, that comes up to the surface again to be, I don't know, to be healed. It's usually to be healed. But yeah, when it becomes so physical, like it's becoming with me, and then this, I don't know if it's the same thing with them, because I haven't discussed this with anybody. Yeah, it can be pretty distracting. Mm, but basically, from what I'm seeing, even with this, observing what's happening in the spiritual community, and when we are coming into, I don't know, um, judging each other, being obnoxious to each other, gossiping each other, mm, having to show that we are the only ones who can heal somebody, that we are the only ones who can help somebody, and the other ones are so bad, and they're not good, and they're less than us. That's all ego. That's all ego play. We're jealous of somebody, but the thing is that we're rarely admitting to ourselves that there is this blind spot in us that we're not paying attention to properly. There is something in us that we need to understand, accept, heal, and integrate. And the reality is reflecting it back to us in this way. And I've been trying to discover. I mean, this is like this is also what I'm saying to myself. And I've been trying to discover what this is for me. And this is why I'm mentioning mostly male energies. And I wanted, like in the video in Serbian and this one, I wanted it to sound completely differently because I was really angry. The thing that I get distracted because is this moves anger in me, and I feel so angry because all of the past experiences where it didn't turn out so well for me, and because of all of the things that happen to me now, because uh, they block things for me. They remove people from my life. They remove things from me. I have blocks in my inflow of clients, and then they create holes in my aura and stuff. You know, when you are healthy, like your energy is healthy, if somebody is constantly throwing energy balls in you, uh, like every day, maybe not always at the same time, but usually with me that is the case, it's going to create a hole at a certain point, a crack. And that's the general idea. Then they can attach to this crack and send stuff. There is a person, I met a person physically. Uh, it's a male who has been following me, stalking me for years, and who's been doing this for years to me. Uh, he's not necessarily attaching to my hands, but he the way he functions is that he gathers a lot of this heavy and dark energy, because he clears it from other people too, because he's also working with other people. So he's kind of more grayish than completely dark, but he's not, you know, well, for me, from my point of view, he's not good. So, although he presented himself to me differently, so for years I didn't understand. Didn't know who that is, and I had very many difficulties since 2018 onwards, and in many sessions that I did for myself, I had difficulties with certain group, and he's kind of a person that doesn't really belong to a group, but he's hired, and he works for, either here or there. So I don't. There is a word in Serbian that is appropriate for this, but I don't know the proper word in English when you're sitting on two stools, because it doesn't necessarily mean that you're doing it for material gain and for money, but there is some interest that you have there. And usually for this guy, this is energy. And I've also noticed in spiritual community, and I've been observing this for a while, and I've had that kind of experience too, that male energies, and usually they're male energies who are doing this astral wars and astral attacks with each other, not necessarily with beings and energy that they have to dismantle and clear, but with each other. And they, whether they call themselves shamans or magi's or warlocks, and they're not necessarily um, fighting with black ones who are actually doing the bad stuff and who have chosen to do this, and they're doing it consciously. They are doing it for their own benefit. And what we're speaking about, it's not about whether your channel is completely dark or gray or completely bright. It's about whether you're service to self or service to others or service to the divine. Essentially, at the end of the road, everything is at service to the divine. But there are certain levels, and what I'm speaking about now is lower astral planes. And well, at least that's what I've been observing in this area around here, is that they're fighting each other because uh, it's either over territory or followers or some energetically strong women that they want for themselves so that they can have access to that channel and that energy, or just because they want to prove that they're stronger, that they have more power, they're more powerful. And around here, this is generally the case. And they're doing it, fighting it with women too, because there are a lot of misunderstanding. They don't understand completely Shakti energy. Let's call it Shakti for the sake of speaking. And it's bringing out in them something that they don't want to face at the moment. And they usually have problems with like I already mentioned, with either a mother wound, or they're having problems with some feminine figure that have hurt them, and they're completely in denial, and they're not usually working on themselves. The problem is that they gain a lot of strength and energy, and develop energetically to a certain point. And then when they develop energetically, they think that that's it, that they're so powerful at the moment, and they help some, but they remove something from some because they decided that, because it's like in a pack. So for this guy, he just wants to be like, he wanted to be like a Swengali to me. So to control my channel and control my powers and what I do. And around here, and I've been told this in like a couple of years ago in a session, but I didn't know at the time what that was. Like, he doesn't really want to hurt me, but he wants to dominate me and control me. And yeah, that, these kind of energies, male energies, are very much controlling and domineering. And this is because they stopped developing. They stopped. If you're developing energetically, that doesn't mean that you're developing spiritually. Spiritual evolution is about heart opening and growing in love, not only about growing in energy. Because you get to to the point where you're developing and you're disconnecting your energy and your mind, your ego from your heart, and we're disconnecting your urges and your energy and your mind from your heart. There's no development, and you are functioning from blind spots and from deep unconscious. And what I've noticed, that there is a lot of um, psychological issues in spiritual community, because nobody is working with psychotherapy and them working energetically and energy and gaining knowledge and developing heart is one thing, but trauma, which we all have been through, asks for psychological help too. So there are a lot of, especially in men, in women too, but a little less than in men. And but in these kind of men, I've noticed like they're pretty much like psychos, even when they don't think that they're hurting anybody. But at the very moment when you um, confront them and say no to them, it doesn't really matter whether male or female. When you disagree with them, uh, they just want to break you down, uh, destroy you, or like throw lightning or something on you. So the way this, well, at least the one that is uh, doing this to me, he gathers this a lot, like in black energy balls, and dark energy or heavy energy, and he throws it at me like, like you would take a bucket and then you pour it over, and that contaminates my channel and lowers my vibration. So I've been told, and by the way, I've been told by him, that energy vampires function like this, that they have to bring you down to their level so that they can attach to you. And what is this? So for me, at the moment, that was meant as a punishment, because I decided to say no. I said no to something, and decided that I'm gonna follow my heart. And it's not the first time that when I was expressing myself in spiritual community to a man and said that you might not be right with this. You are not. This is not true, and I disagree. Maybe it's true, but I disagree, and I'm only expressing that I disagree. That they became mad completely and domineering. So there's a lot of narcissism in spiritual community, narcissistic behavior, and a lot of egotism, a lot of bipolar personalities, and schizophrenia, and a lot of manic depression. And yes, most of those are because of the entities, and you can deal with it when you're dealing with the entities, but not all of them know how to deal with the entities. And a lot of those who know how to deal with entities throw entities on each other because they just have to be right all the time, because they're functioning basically from a place of very big disempowerment, from some pain, some trauma that happened at some point in this lifetime, most likely, but usually comes from a past life too, and from some disappointment they don't want to tackle. And when they come to the certain level of development of energy, when they're strong energetically, they don't even want to deal with it because they're now strong and they can protect themselves and everybody, but only the ones who are pampering their ego, who are listening to them, who are behaving like their subjects. And this is what I've been observing, not only with what I've, with others, with many too, abroad and here, but mostly, and I'm functioning here, mostly it is happening here. And mainly these people have a lot of problems with feminine energy in their lives, whether that's a mother or a sister or a caretaker or some woman that disappointed them and wasn't there available for them. And I have a father who is like that too. Although he's not strong energetically, he doesn't do anything of that kind. But it's kind of the problem of the area where we live in, because we've been in wars, and because it's been, we're a very patriarchal society, and the boys are brought up like that. And yeah, you can tell me now when I'm saying that when they're kicking each other and having astral wars and astral fights, that this is what boys do. Boys will be boys. But no, this is exactly what we don't want to happen, because if you're functioning as a fully developed conscious man, as a divine being, this shouldn't be happening. You're functioning from heart, and you are allowing people to have their own lessons. And whether those lessons are going to hurt them, it's their business. It's their business. It's their lesson. You can interfere if it's going to endanger their life or endanger somebody else around them. And I've had this experience with my teacher, so this is why I can speak about it. One of my teachers. But for everybody else, it was not about helping, actually, this person. It was about controlling and dominating this person, owning it, and controlling the flow of the situation, which they never can. It's never the way they want it to be. They just get into turmoil for themselves and create karma for themselves and for the other person. Whether that's a student, male or female, whether that's a relative or child or some woman in their lives. But usually the thing is, the ones who are doing this on astral plane and fighting with each other, they lose. Also, they have a lot of energy, but they use it for this, and they lose energy like this. And they need to regain it back. But the thing is that they're not connected to the divine, because they haven't worked on their blind spots, and they haven't finished their processes. They haven't admitted themselves. It's always somebody else who's controlling. It's always somebody else that needs to work on something, not them. And they usually use other people's energy, whether that's their followers and people they work with, or women. They usually need a lot of women. They have, if their wife or a lover is not energetically strong, they need more than one women, and they use sexual energy, whether through sex or whether through attaching cord in the channel and controlling this channel. I don't know how allowed myself to get into the situation where my channel was being opened without me being asked for permission for that. And actually, he opened a portal in my channel where these other beings were coming in. So in a way, he was working with exactly those that he was saying he wants to protect me from. So basically, in this way, you're not helping and you're not working to liberate that person, but you're working for those. You're just saying that you're against what they represent. So there are also a lot of people around here. I mean, that's happened to me too. Who want to meddle in your private life and basically make decisions for you about your private life, and not private only, professional, and how you do stuff, how you create your business, how you create a practice, and how you work. So there are a lot of those who meddle into your private life, and yeah, I don't know who gave you permission to meddle into my private life and create obstacles for me and change stuff for me, because I never did that. So basically what I've seen, what I've observed for a while now, since I started doing this actually, is that there is a lot of this creating followers, presenting yourself as everybody likes to be a teacher and present themselves as a teacher or a guru. They're and they know best, rather than connecting you to your soul, to your higher self. Not that they're not talking about it, but in the process they get lost somewhere because of these reasons, because they stop working on themselves, or they continue doing the things that have done often, and they did till that point, but they're not working anymore because they need more, they need something else, because they've changed, and they need to change approach, change direction, and mainly because they're not paying attention to psychological processes. We all have a psyche. We all have a mental mind. We cannot get rid of our mental mind. This is who we are. We can widen it. We can educate it. We can expand it. And we can connect it with the heart, which is the idea. By the way, we cannot get rid of it. And everything that we're doing, all of us, we should be cooperating and not working against each other and attacking each other. We are all doing the same thing. We are all dismantling this holographic, collective mental mind. This is what we're healing, because all of this are due to the set of beliefs that they are, whether embedded in us, that we are born into or grew into, or came like a virus in us, or we got them through upbringing or through trauma, because trauma is there to program us. There's trauma programming. And all this is done deliberately. And then they just continue to function like they're doing everything like they used to do it, like the ones before them used to do it. I'm lacking my mind is working faster than my tongue, so I'm lacking words in English for some things that I want to say, and I don't feel like I'm expressing myself properly. So what is happening? That all of them are creating karma for themselves, and that's deliberate. And they're coming back into karma loops. Everybody likes to say, "This is my last life, and I'm not coming back again." Not true. We all have blind spots, and the blind spots are something like some behavior that we express when we are upset, or when we get triggered, and everybody else notices around us, but we don't, and the well-meaning people will confront us with it, and some mirrors will come to confront us with it. And then there is some deeply unconscious behavior that was created there by trauma, or from past experiences, past life, or whatever. And at the moment, I don't care, and I'm not speaking at the moment whether subconscious mind was artificially created and placed there. It, even if so, it needs to be, it's there, and it needs to be healed, and it needs to be cleared. So those would be the behaviors that come up when we're experiencing something very overwhelming, something difficult, when there's trauma happening, when there is something that we need to react quickly, something stressful. And this is something that other people might not notice, but that's kind of behavior that can become destructive if we don't deal with it. And from what I'm seeing, from what I'm saying now, it is becoming, it becomes destructive. This is why you come to see me, and this is why you seek for help from others, but also those others. When we're all only human, and we all have stuff that we didn't deal with in us that are coming to surface to be healed. And yeah, I mean, all of us have reality as a mirror for something like this. I also have clients that come with similarities through what I'm going through, or I have to deal with myself, and then I clear it for myself too, or just sometimes it's enough for that to become conscious, to become aware of it. And if you're not dealing with it, it will become deeply destructive. It will destroy you. It will destroy your life. It will create so many problems for you that will be destructive. And you become destructive for other people. Like what I'm saying, it's happening to me. So this is this kind of person that you're going to be sending somebody to therapy because they have karmic issue and karmic problem with their parents or siblings or somebody else, but they're not going to be noticing because they're going to be exposed to this same thing, and they're going to be in the middle of it, but they're not going to be noticing that they also have karma with this particular person that they're saying the other person is having problem. And they're not going to be allowing you to even mention that or tackle that. And they're not going to be speaking anything about themselves. They're not going to be sharing anything about themselves. But they're going to be listening to what you're saying, and they're going to be using it against you. And this is psychotic. This is narcissistic behavior, very controlling. And for some reason, I had to meet this person up close. I don't know, maybe I didn't have to meet, but that's what happened. And, this has to do with, the lesson of meeting your opponent. And essentially, this is how we start thinking. It's not like I want to call. This is not how I ever function in my life. But when we become really hurt, and when something's really painful for us, we start calling these people our enemies. And essentially, if somebody continues creating a problem for you, even when you didn't ask for help, and even when you didn't express anything, when you didn't ask anything from them, if they continue, and if you moved away and they continue creating problems for you, it's human nature. How else are you going to call them? And this is how we get into fights. This is how we get into war. And this is programming. This is how men are mainly wired, programmed to behave. This is patriarchy. But there are women functioning like this also. But this also means because they're lacking energy and because they have holes in their, not necessarily auras, but ethereal body. It has wounds that they didn't deal with. That something attaches to them. Something is controlling them. Like an archetypal being. um, but usually not its positive aspect, but a negative one. Because it hasn't been dealt with. It hasn't been um, understood properly. It hasn't been, there are aspects of them that haven't been integrated properly. And some of them can't integrate it. Some of those have to be sent to the light and recycled and then integrated as pure light. Because they're very sick. And they're functioning from some sub-personality because of some very painful experience. And mind you, like I'm gonna say again, we had a lot of wars around here. People have been participating in these wars physically, or running away from them, and had experiences. And then that, they continue battling and having a war in higher planes. These are high planes. That's also like some sort of physical plane, but it's a little bit less dense than this one. So this 4D, lower 4D, lower astral is what is creating all of these agendas and problems and spiritual warfare that we're experiencing now. Because there is always somebody against somebody, like above, so below. And if we're doing this in the spiritual community, what can you expect elsewhere from people who are not even thinking about those things? And what I'm saying here, there's a big lack of compassion and empathy and development of those in spiritual community and morality. And most don't even care. And I've heard people say that that's not important for spiritual work. It is. Well, it's not important for magic. But that depends on what kind of magic you want to do. So if we're only speaking about energy, when we're speaking about spiritual world are not only light beings, by the way. They're ghosts, they're lost souls, they're beings, entities, alien entities. And when they attach to you, you work for them without some know because they have benefits and they do, and then after they just continue, they can't stop because they went too far, or somebody else before them had to deal with them, and they just because they're in that lineage and they have access to the entire lineage. I've been speaking about that. And some, because they had trauma, because the sub-personality sabotaged them, or somebody sabotaged them, or the beings or group, or somebody, some karma, something that I didn't deal with. Maybe just some creative circumstances. then that also comes down to how do we view spirituality, and what kind of being, how aware we are, and what kind of being are we connecting to? Are we really connecting to our soul and our guidance, pure divine guidance, pure light, absolute light guidance? Or are we connecting to lower astral being, or being that is trapped in earthly plane and needs our energy to survive? And people are doing magic. I'm speaking about black magic. They're doing it consciously. But there are people who think that they're doing white magic and doing exactly the same thing. And they're possessed, or they have something attached to them without knowing. And it's felt. When you are a developed channel enough, you can feel it. You don't have to necessarily see it, because not everybody is a seer, but they're seeing in different ways. Depends on your talent. So that means that all these have something on them. It's like we all have wounds in our ethereal body. There's, we all have something that is there, whether that's a person or something, but that can be dealt with once we become aware of it and we feel it. But they're the ones who are either don't want to know it or know it and willingly are doing it. Just think that they're untouchable. That can't happen to them. If you want to be untouchable, you gotta grow hard and you gotta grow in light. When you grow in light, those who are unhealed souls and trapped souls and those with some kind of a problem, a whole bunch of people will be triggered, and other beings will come, because moth can't help but come to the light. It's just then you have to maintain your channel, and the channel that you're maintaining, it's usually not only yours. There's several people. If you're somebody who's working with other people and working with a divine being, I'm not speaking about guides now. That's different. This is another level. There are people who are sort of an incarnates, and they're with their partners, spouses, and soul group. And I spoke about soul group before this. And they're downloading. This is like their oversoul, also divine being that is not incarnating but materializing through them, and they hold this channel and this works through them. They have to maintain this channel, and this is what I've been speaking about. This is like that. This is, they want to close my channel or take it over, because to use the energy, or to control the information that are coming there, or send something else through this channel. And it's usually your partner, your divine partner, and you. So this is why all this talk about twin flames and spiritual separation, this is why they want twin flames separated. And this is why it is so difficult to come together, because there are fractions that don't want these healed channels and clear pillars of light, pillars that are not obstructed, that are without obstacles, that are healed. Not always necessarily because they have agenda, but because they don't understand it. It's moving too much in them, especially like the energy of if it's a feminine entity, a feminine divine being, divine mother. These kind of energies can't stand it, and trust me, I'm dismantling a lot, working with women, men too, but women mainly who have been like witches before, and they have been attacked because they're women who are powerful women and do something. And what makes you think it's any different now? It's just that they're not using burning stakes or other things as obvious as it used to be before. But look what I'm telling you. Look what's happening to me. And it's not only because of my past experiences. It's because of these beings haven't gone anywhere. It's because of the collective programming is still the same. It hasn't changed. And there are not a lot of women who are developed their CD powers precisely because of that, because they remove them. They're obstructed with, sending them partners or turning them around or using their energy because it's a creation energy. So you're developed and breeded to maintain a man or a group. You're a priestess. You're a priestess. Or a being. You're never taught that you are goddess and you are holding this channel and allowed to develop these powers because they are inherently yours. And for whatever reason, I still don't understand why they cannot stand a powerful woman, but I only can guess because of the centuries of patriarchal programming. And the matrix programming. So all these who have something on them, their entities mainly, when they use women, they use it through sexual intercourse, or whether on physical plane or astral plane, because they're quite capable of doing that with their ethereal body, and they court you. So on that note, that makes me wonder and think how much they are actually organic beings, because organic beings don't do this. I'm speaking about clones now. But and I haven't dismantled that yet, so I haven't opened that box, so I can't speak about it. So those entities that are attaching on you to extract your sexual energy from you are called incubus and succubus. Succubus are female energies, and females are doing it too. It's just that they're doing it differently, and it's more psychological, emotional games and violence, and violence, not physical violence, but it's still, the passive aggressive kind of behavior, and psychological games, but they are sent to you mainly they belong to covens, and they're high priestesses or Masonic high priestesses or these black witches. They have a coven, and they don't usually do it themselves. And it's usually, what happens is usually that the being that is quite less powerful than you can get to you and will obstruct you and does this to you, because you don't pay attention to those who are less powerful than you. You think, oh, they can't do this to me, but they're doing it in a group, and they group and enhances it. Group energy enhances whatever they're doing that through a ritual. Usually they are the ones, who are very seductive, who are not necessarily always naked and dancing, but I'm not saying that they have anything against that. It's just this is the type of women that they send to use, who are functioning like the like I don't know, high class prostitutes. And this is what by the some groups and Masonic fractions, this is what they do, and this is what the secret societies have done through years, and that's what's been done in temples for ages, and this is how they are maintaining empires through ages, through priestesses and tantric temples, where the sex magic is performed to maintain the king and the rulers, but not necessarily connecting it with the divine, because you do that with your partner. That needs to be love so that you can connect to the divine. So I mentioned Tantra because then I read somebody's post, because somebody asked the question, what is Tantra? Nobody had an answer. And all of a sudden I had this download for some reason. I had this stream, because I was in these temples before. I was a tantric priestess, but this is not what Tantra is. Actually, Tantra, for me, what I got as an answer is that Tantra is a devotional practice, a devotion to the divine, and not necessarily, doesn't necessarily include a sexual, physical encounter, but it includes a merging of your inner male and female energies and Kundalini rising, where you connect to your soul like this. And it's like there are tantrics who have been celibate like their entire existence, and they're called tantrics because that's only a practice, that's a method you use. And other than Hero's Gamos or bridal chamber, because that involves a sexual encounter, but with two divine partners, those who have already attained connection with their soul, with their divinity, and then they're merging in order to manifest and materialize that divinity in physicality, not necessarily like they're presenting, at least here, that they use tantric practice and sex magic to enhance their desires and manifest and materialize something for themselves. I've been taught that too. I've been told this, and I've accepted it at some point wrongly. But this is what I'm talking about. This is how these half truths and half knowledge goes around, and it's being spread around. And, shamanism and tantra, they're very popular around here lately, so this is why I'm mentioning it. It's just one example of how we don't know things, and how we accept half truths and illusions as truth, and we manifest it, we materialize it through our channel, because we allow it in our channel, because we don't know better. And we could know better if we investigate, if we do research, inner research and outer research. And all of this is actually focusing a lot on distractions and external. Well, it is coming from something that is internalized, and then we internalize this wrong concept, and we're creating, this is how we are manifesting all these beings through our channel, who are actually illusion and hologram. And this is why I said in Hero's Gamos, you are maintaining your hologram pure, your channel pure, so that you do not, this is why it's, a lot of, it's, this is why I constantly mention being faithful to your divine partner. Because if you allow something else and someone else in pure energy, then you are tainting this channel, and you're creating a hole in it, and other things can come through, not necessarily from that person, but from standing behind or stand or you whoever is using him. And even if it's not that person using it, yeah, there are entities just winning, especially if you're working with people and using this energy to work with people. There are chances are their energy is waiting there to just take advantage of it. And I felt it on my own skin, so this is why I can speak about it. And these kind of unions are really rare, because especially exactly because of this. And then incubus are male and males who are using your energy in the ways that I've been speaking about, sexual energy mainly, and they're having sexual intercourse on some other planes, like whether they're in their um, the way they are, the way they physically look, or some other form, or their body, or if you observe it the way I just mentioned, whether they're organic or not, then you can also say that this is how quantum computer is being plugged into you, and it's being maintained, the matrix being maintained with your energy. These are all matrix keepers, the artificial matrix keepers. This is why I said that I'm wondering how organic they are, if they can, just plug into like that. Because when you develop certain CDs, I mean, it's even your development is not about CDs. It's not about you getting stuck there. And this is, developing power. And a lot get stuck in power. And that doesn't mean that there are no women who have developed CDs. There are less than men. But it's just that from what I know, at least, they are not abusing it, and they're not feeding on the energy of others, because they're using these powers for creation and not manipulation. At least that's what I've seen. Because you can't, when you develop heart and when you're completely in compassion and empathic, you can't. Not even unwillingly. But if you are attacked enough, and if you experience a lot of enough of these, what I've just been speaking about, the game is on you like that, so that you start doing it at a certain point, because you start lacking energy, and then you start doing it. It doesn't mean that there are not women who are not plugging into you and then stealing your energy, especially sexual energy through sexual intercourse. And these are generally, like I'm saying, these are not very powerful women. They, at least when I look at them, I just do nothing. Because the women who are connected to their divinity are not manipulative and are not playing games. And chances are these women also are used by somebody. All of those that I just mentioned are used by somebody and abused to be programmed to do this, to be set in this trajectory to do this. They have undergone, especially high priests and priestesses of the other side, let's call it the other side. They have gone through hellish preparation for something like that. And this is why some of them are, you might think that they're completely heartless. Some of them are not, especially women, but they can, if they are sent, they will be punished if they don't finish the task, if they don't deliver you. So just things to think about. And you don't get to think about those things until you come to the certain level when you start developing your own CDs. And they're all there because they want to block you in your development. And they want to take over the channel, and they want to stop you from maintaining this purity of channel, because it's all of this, what I said, is a matter of faith. You should be connecting to your guides and to your soul, and to your divinity, and to God, essentially to God. Because if you trust God, if you trust that God is having the last word over you, if God is guiding you and protecting you, then who's there to fear? And in that channel, they're just a hologram. I feel this very much when I work. When I work, I know that they can't do anything to me. Well, like you see, after when I experience stuff like I just mentioned, from, I don't know, when I have to fix stuff in my apartment, and essentially this is the attack on my channel and my energy that is creating, my hologram that is creating all of this, my apartment and all of this, that is manifesting all of this. And they want to create a portal in this channel somewhere so that they can become real through me. And I don't want that. This is why I'm so much. It doesn't mean that I don't know this, but you know, in everyday life, you just forget sometimes about this and just get into the survival mode. And survival mode is pulling you down. And you have to go back to the practice, or get some work on you, fix your energy, or somebody else have a treatment, or somebody else helps you, or you get into, but that requires an amount of work and an energy to get back to the level that you were at. And that also depends on what is happening in the collective too, because you're not completely disconnected from the collective, but you can maintain your channel so that you are not infiltrated, and so that you're not tainted. Some are clearings, your own clearings, but they're visible to some beings. They will try to use it, and will try to create problems for you. So if you still have unhealed spots, which are wounds in your channel, cracks, they will try to get there. That's the only thing you can count on. But that's why we have to, especially for us who are working with other people, and who are, holding these channels and portals, and are grid workers or gatekeepers, we have to constantly work on ourselves. And constantly catch ourselves in when we get triggered and we get into the this goes for me too. I'm saying this for myself too. We're all only human, and we all have our lives to lead here. So yeah, I'm gonna yeah, she's here now. But having said all this, it is difficult. It doesn't mean that this isn't difficult, especially in material plane and 3D reality. But that's the game, isn't it? Coming to the level that you can understand that it's all about faith, and that everything else is a holographic projection, and you're not allowing other holographic projections of others to be manifested through you. But to maintain your channel, your divinity. And not speaking about manifesting, not only to be manifesting whatever you want, and to whomever God you are praying at the moment, but to be manifesting your divinity, the God or goddess that you are, the God or goddess that is your not only your higher self, but your oversoul, and the one who works through you, who that doesn't mean that this being is reincarnated. It means that the portion of their energy gets incarnate through you. And it's basically, for me, it's a goddess, one of 3 goddesses, but a goddess that works through me. And also your Christ consciousness. That's what I'm speaking about. And this is how it works. And I'm becoming increasingly sad as I'm speaking this, because that is a very difficult lesson, actually. This is why we do all of these therapies that we do with this, all remembrances and clearings, and so that we are able to do this. It should be easier. But the goal is for us to become a conscious society, and that's going to take a while. It already is taking a while. And then not everybody is going to become that, because all of that I mentioned are done by souls that are not very developed. There are young souls who are still developing, or the souls that are damaged or just got lost somewhere and got stuck along the way. It doesn't mean that this can't be healed and changed, and it doesn't mean that you cannot develop further, and it doesn't mean that development it can also happen in one lifetime, not only through several lifetimes, but some need several lifetimes, and some have a quantum leap, and they develop and grow in strength and color and in love in this lifetime. It changes, and I see that through my clients. It doesn't necessarily mean that you are an old soul if you had many and thousands and hundreds of thousands of earthly lives. It has nothing to do with age, soul age. It has everything to do with soul color and soul lesson. You can spend all of these years learning only one lesson, and if you haven't learned it, you're not gonna get further. Then you're not get you're not gonna get upgraded. You're not gonna get to the next plane. You're not gonna get to the next class. The student has this message and this lesson, and if you do, you can only finish in one. Very old souls, whether they incarnate or not anymore, but they can only come and finish a task in one life. And there are souls who exit the game because they see that they cannot finish their task and then come back later, or go to some other plane or other planet to finish this lesson and task. It's all about that, not about how long have you been here. And there are other planets too. You could have a lot of lives there and few around here, but that doesn't mean you're a young soul. It just means that you didn't have too many earthly lives. And speaking about that, you know, that's speaking about star seeds and angelic souls. And I've just recently learned the difference between star seed and angelic souls, and it makes sense to me because as the angelic, the star seeds are souls from other planets, and they had mainly lives in other planets. But that doesn't also mean that they are all very developed and old souls, because from what I've seen in my sessions and the experiences from other therapists, you can there are alien beings, alien souls who are very primitive, and planets who are very primitive. They might be technologically developed, but they are not very spiritually mature. And they're very materialistic. While the angelic souls are different, they're coming from another planes and the realms, and they are developed souls, they're old souls, and their energy is different, wired differently. They also had a lot of lives and other planes and other planets, but they're the kind of energy uh, that gets entangled easily here in some stuff because they absorb a lot and they're very loving. So this is to say that you don't need any technique to work with people. When you're developed enough, you can only sit around and vibrate differently, vibrate in love, and they just melt. They open themselves up and they receive from your energy. You don't have to pull out things from them, or just be, oh, I'm such a powerful healer and I open channels and close and open and close portals and so. Yeah, that's needed too, but essentially when you're fully developed and when your heart and mind are connected, and when you are empathic and when you're compassionate, when you're vibrating differently, when you developed enough light quotient in you, everything that I've been speaking about becomes dissipate. They melt in your energy, and other people want to be around you, want to spend time around you because they melt. They get healed just by your presence. This is what it means to be medicine woman and medicine man. Like, the who's hugging people, and she just, when she hugs you, you can get healed. It's also about the level of faith you have, of course, but that's an old soul. That's development of that's the evolution that we're aiming for, not powers. Doesn't mean that this is not a power, but this is all blended into one. This is all integrated. This is power, not the one that you have to show by fighting somebody and, and calling somebody on a duel and seeing whether they're going to come and say, and then if they don't come, they say that they're afraid of you, and they, because they know you're more powerful and their imperfections will show. We are all imperfect here. This is why we're still here. And this, when you just sit and you're like a hologram, this is an example of how this hologram works. And this, when this goes through your channel, this light, and changes colors, this is a hologram. And it's been much better example of that in a Serbian video. So even if you don't listen, go watch it. You might see something there. I mean, even if you don't understand Serbian, go watch it. That's what I meant when I said my mind is faster than my tongue. Yeah. You can see something projected here. And that's the goal. And that doesn't mean I'm there. This is just an example. I'm usually not able to do this. And even when I started this video, I'm possibly going to be attacked after this again, but this had to be said. And we're wasting a lot of time by proving each other wrong and fighting each other and disconnecting from each other and separating and creating all these loopholes for each other and conflict with each other. We should be cooperating now, especially now in these times, because this is precisely what they want, the ones who are aiming to be manifested and materialized through our energy and our channels, that they're stealing from us through this. Even this energy, even this heaviness and dark energy, and that my channel doesn't handle that well. And I constantly remove, spiders, bugs, worms, and some heavy energy in me. This is only energy. And this should be advancing my channel, not bringing it down and lowering it. What is lowering it is when I get scared or what I see, and when because it's too much and too heavy for my crystalline energy. When it, every crystal needs to be cleared here and there. Then my vibration gets lowered and they can attach. But it's mostly through me being scared of it. So yeah, I'm sniffing, and it means that I lost some energy from last week. Yeah, now that's it. We should be all cooperating if we want this to end, and if we want to get there faster. Together as one, not fighting each other, and not withholding growth for each other. Because if you're doing that, You're just like them. And then think about where you want to be and who you want to be. Essentially, if they're giving you energy, then there are no enemies out there. It's just about us learning how to handle it. It's about us learning that essentially only love is real, and that's what I meant when I said that all of this us is a hologram. It's a projection of collective holographic mind. Yes, it's different. It's difficult when you get entangled in, and you can get easily entangled into the collective mind. But it's not impossible to get there, and there are plenty of examples throughout history. It's just that they're not on YouTube, they're not on Instagram, they're not on social networks. They're diligently working behind the scenes. Not examples from through history, they're here now and they are working. I promise you they are, because we wouldn't be here, all of us together, if they weren't. It is all about love and growing in love. If you want to get there, if you want to get to the other side, develop love in you. Then, beings, entities, whether you believe they're a hologram or not, they can't attach to. They melt in love. And this is why we shouldn't be making each other sad and cry. But helping each other grow. Well, we all have different talents, and some work with hands, and some transmute through their body and energy and through their channels. Some seers, some receive information. It's different. But in the end, it all comes down to this: growing in love. And somebody helping you, becoming aware of something and making something conscious or integrating something. That's healing too. That's helping you heal too. And it's growing your channel. Or maybe you're growing the channel that you are together. So yeah, like I said, I thought I'm gonna be naming some names and stuff, and I've discovered some similarities and some energies with male and female, and with the female energies that I have. There's always the same kind of woman that, energetically speaking, have a problem with, which is also the one who wants a lot of powers and a lot of attention and everything for herself, and to prove they're better and domineer. It's unhealed feminine energy, and that's it all comes down to what I just said. It's all functioning from a false programming and from male polarity. Even the unhealed feminine energy, it goes along with the male polarity, and it's functioning from male polarity. The ones who, the women who are doing this because they don't have problems with the women, but they have problems with males, and especially have unhealed relationship with male energy because of the wounds from the past, and have issues with men, and afraid of men or hate men, or do this because they have a grudge on males in general. They are functioning from unhealed feminine energy. The ones who are wanting to domineer other women and have problems with other women and want to control and take over the channel, or take energy, or their man or child or whatever, that's functioning from your inner male energy. So I think that's no. That was me. She won't let me go away. I don't have anything to say. She doesn't want to speak. She just wants to do this. That's to say that we're all functioning like children. This is how children function who are wounded children. On another plane, but we're still children. And that's what I meant when I said young souls and undeveloped souls. Okay, I think I can finish now because she... yeah. Oh. Yeah, it was generally much stronger last week, so do go and watch that transmission, but I don't know why, like a lot of sadness, but it's possibly from what is coming up within me to be witnessed and healed still. And yes, I do have a lot of sadness because of all of this, what I've just shared, that I've experienced and I'm experiencing, and it's, yeah. It's like I said, nobody understands Shakti and feminine energy, like pure raw. And pure love. So thank you very much for your patience and attention. And yeah, do, if you want to continue being in contact with me. I mean, I'm gonna post, obviously, I don't know what, I think maybe 2 more transmissions or in one light language, because I've been feeling there are some other things that I need to say, but it's not gonna be soon. And after that, I don't think I'll be posting on YouTube anymore. It's gonna be shared privately and in live lectures if they happen. Thank you very much.